Hello, hello. Here we go again. We'll see if we get any viewers because Tim is live at the same time. Hi, Barb. Good to have you guys. So, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I just want to remind you that all of these videos can be accessed later. So if for some reason you get popped out of the live and can't get back in, it's pretty easy to find all the old videos. If you go to the top of my page, the Art of Dina Wakely page, to the left, there's a menu. And in that menu, there's a option called videos. So if you click on videos, you'll be able to see all of the videos ever posted, and you can scroll through them and watch them. They're also available on my blog, which is go to dinawakely.com and click on blog. I post them there because I've been uploading all of them to YouTube. So there's a YouTube channel out there, Dina Wakely. So hey everybody, welcome. Glad to have you with me today. It is another Groundhog Day, isn't it? It's a Black Wednesday, yeah. I tell you what, you got anybody here on the CPAP? I am struggling to get used to this machine. I mean, I know it's helping my breathing, but whew, I tell you what, I'm just struggling. I know it takes a long time to get used to. Good to have everybody here from all around the world. So like I said just a minute ago, before a lot of you popped on, you can always access all of these videos under the video tab. So they're all available in all of their goofy glory. I know, Kay, what day is it? I really don't know. Oh my goodness. Interesting and unprecedented times, I keep saying. Hello from the Bay Area, Victoria, my husband. Victoria, my husband grew up in Fremont. We love the Bay Area. Hi, Ardith. Amazing artist. Ardith, you are an inspiration, my friend. Inspiration. Hey, everybody. Glad to have you. So this particular topic was a request. So, and it was fun because I have not dug the black gesso out for ages to play with. So my line has 3 gessos in it. There is a clear, there is a black, and there is a traditional white gesso. And people always say, well, what would you use clear gesso for? Clear gesso is great for anything that you know, any substrate that you want to still see. Because if you let's say you have a beautiful piece of book paper, vintage book paper, or ledger paper, or Bible page, or scrapbook paper that you want to paint on, but you want to give it that tooth and that strength, okay, then you would use clear. And a lot of Bible journalers absolutely love my clear gesso because the clear gesso that in my line, it's not so overly gritty, and then it is not super wet. So it doesn't wrinkle the Bible pages. So anyway, that's what clear gesso is for. Clear gesso is for anytime you want to see the substrate through the primer. Hi, Mary Jo McGraw. So Mary Jo McGraw, I have a story for you. I took a class from you years ago at Stamp Boutique. You were one of my very first stamping teachers. Yeah, Gail, my clear gesso does have tooth. Yes, it does. But it's not super gritty. So Mary Jo, I took one of your classes early on at Stamp Boutique, and I was brand new stamper. So I started stamping in 96, so it would have been around 96 or 97. And I'll always remember that you did not clean your stamps. So I have to say that you have influenced my my not messy ways. So Mary Jo McGraw's in the house. That's awesome. Okay, so then the standard white gesso is just like your traditional white. And my gesso is awesome, you guys. If you haven't tried it, you'll often hear us say that gessos have tooth. So tooth just means that it has something for other paints and other mediums to grip to, okay? So when you paint white gesso, clear gesso, black gesso down, it's not going to be quite as shiny. Sometimes it's described as chalky because you're basically priming that surface so that other mediums stick really well, right? So, gesso has tooth. Now, this is very true of my black gesso. And my black gesso is delicious. I mean, look at it. It's just, I just had to smell it. You just want to roll around in it. It's opaque. It's really dark. And it almost has a chalkboard finish. So that means you've got that little bit of tooth there that's going to help other mediums stick. So you use white gesso whenever you just want to do standard priming, clear gesso when you want to see the substrate through the layer, and black gesso when you want drama. I think that when you start with a black foundation, you're going to get interesting, cool drama that you're not going to get if you have the white background. And so this is an old journal. This is a Dilutions journal from back in the day. You can tell it's from back in the day from the style of the drawing, the faces. Oh yeah. But a couple of pages here done with black gesso. And you'll see that black gesso and a white pen are a match made in heaven, number one. Number two, black gesso will make other colors pop next to it. And what's interesting with black gesso, if you do black gesso and then paint a face on top of it, or you do your standard stuff on top of it, a little bit of that dark is going to show through, and it's going to just give you a depth, a value change, a drama that you don't really get with white gesso. And so it really is good fun to mess around with and play with. So I dug out my black gesso yesterday, so this was really fun. And I went down the wormhole of black gesso again for a while. And I'll show you a few of the things that I did yesterday with it. And I hadn't played with gloss sprays yet with it. So I did have a good time mucking about with the gloss sprays and the gesso. I do have some tags here somewhere too. Just gotta find them. La, la, la. Oh, not be a hot mess. What did I do with those? Ah, here they are. Okay. So I coated black gesso on the small white journal, on the traditional journal, on a few of the tags. By the way, apparently white tags are almost sold out at Ranger because I need to order a ton, and my demos have caused a rush on black tags. Not a bad problem to have, but we gotta wait for them now. And you can see here, as I started with a layer of black gesso, and then I put my colors over the top, and makes the vibrancy really pop of those colors, and then little bits of the black show through, and it's just gonna give you that strong value change that makes drama possible. Now, one of my art gospels, you'll always hear me talk about Gospel According to Dina. And one of the gospels that I preached last year was the gospel of value, meaning making sure that you have lights and darks in a piece. Jen asks, do you apply your gesso with a brush, brayer, or something else? The answer is yes. Mostly a brush. So this is just a pink paint pen. You can use Poscas, any paint pen out there that you can get your hands on. And paint pens are, they're just pop. I don't know if it's the 80s girl in me. I love that pop of the bright colors over the dark background. I saw a question go by a minute ago about scribble sticks on black gesso, and the answer is sure, of course. Now keep in mind, let's use a little bit of logic here. I just said logic. Sorry, that's kind of funny. The logic is that dark colors won't show up as well as the lighter and brighter colors, right? On a dark background. So, yeah, sure, you can absolutely use Scribble sticks. Now, the minute I hit that with water, what will happen is it will dilute that pigment out. But, why not? Play and have fun. Use the light colors and the bright colors. Oh, and the white Scribble stick, of course, black gesso is amazing. Except that's not white, that's sand. But you get the idea, right? So fun. All right. So more black gesso. This is gloss spray. So I found that the gloss spray did mute a tad when it was dry over the black gesso, but not a huge quantity, not a huge amount. Black gesso on the back. This was my mop-up page. So it's black gesso on the back of denim, and then I was spraying over it. You can see the spray acted differently on top of the black gesso versus on the unprimed paper. So, let's see here. Let's activate the Scribble stick here. Let's color some Scribble stick into this masked. This is one of my silhouettes from the Persona chipboard set. Remember, you'll get better luck with your Scribble sticks if you lay down a lot of pigment. Don't be namby-pamby with your pigment and your Scribble sticks. Press hard, lay down a lot of pigment. That's what I do. Okay. Give myself a little aura there. Looks good. All right. So we'll mess around more with that in a minute. I did some tags here over a silly background. Again, masking and speckling with the gloss sprays. Yeah, no namby-pamby Scribble sticking. All right. So the beautiful thing, like I said, about this black gesso is that it dries quickly to this wonderful chalkboard finish. And I just love it. Let's see. All right, that's fine. I'm down to my final tag quantities. Oh no, right? I have lots of other paper though. It's just tags are so easy. Tags are instant gratification, you guys. They really are. They're inexpensive. If you screw one up, no big deal. It has two sides. Okay, so there's black gesso on the craft, right? So we can let that dry. Go ahead and, use it as your foundations. And then, I'll see people at class and they'll have wax paper and they're gessoing really carefully, and that's adorable. That's so cute. But I don't, I don't gesso carefully. I like there to be a messy edge. If there's a gap, oops, oh well, right? No big whoops. So I'll set that aside, let that dry. I'm not loading it on super thick, but the gesso has a really nice brush feel, I will tell you. See, those edges are already dry on that tag that I just masked. It really does dry fast. All right, I have a tag over here that's already dry. I'll grab just this dense, dark, delicious matte black. So a matte finish so that it has tooth. All right, so this is one from yesterday. And one of my favorite things to do is grab yourself a lid. How can you tell? Kathy asks, how can I tell if a color is a mid-tone? Would it have a gray undertone? No, it wouldn't necessarily be gray. I would just take a picture of something with your cell phone to see and turn it black and white, and then that way you can tell if it's a light gray, it's a light undertone. If it's a middle gray, it's a middle undertone, and if it is a dark gray, it's a dark undertone. There was another question that I just want to find. What kind of brushes are best? Well, Dina Wakley Media brushes, of course. All right, so I'm just going to take a white paint pen and I'm going to give myself a few circles. Really carefully done. And then I'm going to choose nice bright colors to loosely paint around. And we'll spray it a little bit. I like the pop of lime. That is enough for everybody. I always tell people in class, don't put out so much paint, and then you guys see what I do at home. Oy. But, you know, it just means a lot of backgrounds. My kitties are good. Titan is quite bored. The other two cats are a couple years older than he is, 3 years older, so they sleep more than he does. And he, oh my gosh, he's so bored all day. So you gotta play with him a lot. He's so cute. He needs a kitten, right? All right, so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of gonna fill in areas around, just loose. I don't want to be super precious about it. I'm not really precious about anything though, right? But you know, you want some of that black gesso to shine through, show through your brush stroke, show through areas, because that way you get all the benefit of that dark background, that drama of the dark background, and you'll find that the colors will just appear more vibrant on the black than they will on white. It's just a nice change. It's just a nice artistic challenge, right? And I love myself a good challenge. Pink and green make brown, so I'm gonna brush this on and not stir it around too much to give myself some nice bright accents. When the metallic sprays come out, you guys are going to just want to marry them and have their babies, because metallic on the dark is amazing. Yeah, you can sharpen your scribble sticks with a knife, or by making backgrounds and like twisting the stick while you're laying down a lot of pigment. I don't bother sharpening them, but you could. So now I'm just gonna flick it with gloss spray. See how you're just gonna get these nice bright little blobs of color. Remember, when your live feed stops, what you need to do is you exit out all the way and then start it again, and it will come back. So I'll repeat that. When your live feed stops, you're gonna exit out all the way and it will come back. Just the whole world is on the internet right now. And so that is the problem. Okay, so now I can let that dry, and I've got this great crazy background. This is one that I did yesterday, and so it's ready for pen work, scribble sticks, anything else I might want to add, washi tape. My comments are off. Let me turn them back on. Yeah, you have to exit all the way out and then turn it on again and it will come back. That's what we realized yesterday. And the replay doesn't have any, yeah, I know Tim is on right now too, so you can either catch me later or catch him later. So a little bit of paint pen makes everything better, right? Some delicious accents happening. La, 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 la. little washi on there. Oop. So remember that washi is made to be removable. That's the definition of washi tape. And I find the Ranger washi is just a tad better adhesive than traditional washi. But sometimes, if you know, depending on what you're putting it on, it still might want to pop up. You know, people will say, "Oh, I hate washi. You have to glue it." Well, yeah, that's why it's called washi. So it's meant to be removable adhesive. So a little bit of washi for kicks, right? That's one of my these are my washi tape designs as well. And a quote, sure. Sure, let's add a quote. La, 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 la. Okay, fun little quote, easy peasy, right? My la-las come out of your mouth now. I don't know why I do that, but I do talk to myself at home and sing to myself all the time. It's just fun. It's just fun. Did I readjust that? Did I just readjust that? Did I just readjust what? I'm not sure what you're referring to, but if you let me know, I can try to answer. All right, so small journal, black background, and chipboard shape or mask or any shape that you would like to use. I find if I'm just sticking my washi tape in a journal as an accent, I don't have to glue over it. If I'm using it to hold something, then maybe. But like I said, Ranger's washi, it's a little stronger than traditional washi that you might order from Japan or something like that. I'm gonna get that wonderful pop of color with that black gesso. Gloss spray's down. Did you hear him hit the? Did you hear him hit the floor? I hit the floor. Not a surprise. La, 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 la. Don't be worried about covering every bit. Again, the glory of that black gesso is that it shows through. You want it to show through. You want it to give you that drama, that shadow. It's just fun, y'all. It makes me so happy. It does give you a lot of drama. When I teach abstract painting and stuff like that, we talk a lot about value and talk a lot about how important it is to make sure that you have value change. I mean, of course, that all depends on the story you're trying to tell, but a strong value change in a piece of art will really help draw the eye and give drama. And value seems to be the one thing that people struggle with a lot. It's just scary to add something dark sometimes to your piece. Well, if you start dark, then you've got some added, which is kind of nice. And if you're, don't overpaint so carefully, if you can still see the layers, the black layer coming through in spots, that's where that magic happens. So I'll paint very loosely. I do paint quickly too. So, you know, I'm painting quickly because I'm cognizant that you're all watching me. And I don't want to waste your time, number one. But number two, if I were, you know, didn't have the camera on right now, I'd likely still be doing it this quickly. It's just quick. So Jill, who was in my class in Sedona, it was funny. She sent me a little card yesterday, and what was in the card was, it was a little, gosh, I should have brought it in to show you. It's still sitting on my, counter. It's a little alphabet card, ephemera, that says squirrel. Because I always say that I have attention deficit, squirrel, really bad. Oh my gosh. My middle son has, he has pretty severe ADHD. He always has. He was diagnosed when he was 5, that poor boy. And he's now 22. And, you know, to get through college and stuff like that, he's so stinking smart. I mean, that boy. But he still needs that ADHD medication, or he's what we call a happy hyper. But anyway, so early on, you know, we were dealing with all that stuff. And what makes me laugh is that, I'm like, where did my boys get this ADD? I really don't get it. And then I took some time to really think about myself, and I'm like, oh yeah. So I often say, attention deficit, squirrel. Okay, so here, let me explain to y'all what I just did. So I started with some bright colors in the background. I filled in their bodies with a couple of colors, and then notice the paint that I'm adding as I go along is getting lighter and lighter, right? Because I just added mineral here at the end. So I started with peacock and lime, and then I added sky, which is lighter, and then I added mineral, which is lighter still. And quiz, what is that serving to do? That is serving to increase the value change from this very, very dark background. Now I've got something a lot lighter on that background, and that is, you know, it's just amping the drama. Could you see it change as we went along, right? You can see it, the drama kind of going up as we go. I really like how loose and free that is. It just makes me happy. I think it's cool. I'm going to, it adds depth. Thank you, Carol. That's exactly right. Gonna do a little contrast speckle there. You could let this dry all the way, or you could do as Dina does and not let anything dry. This is another reason why I love the Stabilo All Pencil. I get a lot of questions about this pencil. Just want to remind you, Stabilo is the brand. Stabilo makes lots of different pencils. They're a company that's been around forever. So if you just put Stabilo in the search bar, you'll get lots of different pencils. So the type of pencil is called an All, A-L-L. And it's called an All because it writes on everything, writes on all surfaces. That's why it's soluble. It's kind of like the old China markers, water-soluble China marker. But while your paint is wet, you can come back, with this pencil, and I can add a little bit of outline. I don't think it really needed the outline necessarily today, but I decided to outline it so that you can see. I spent years calling the Stabilo pencil the magic pencil because it makes you look better than you are. And I like art that's fun and easy. So I'm digging for white paint, y'all. White. Okay, looking for white paint. This is one of my stashes. I'm gonna have to add white paint to my order, my Ranger order. This bottle I have in my hand might be the last bottle that I own. Oops. I always say white and night are two of my most used colors. I just love a little white, love a little night. Yeah, I looked in Tim's cart. Yeah, that is Tim's cart. It's really cool. The end of the last show, he gave it to me. He was like, hey, you're local. You can put this in your car. Yes, I can. Before anybody else could claim it, I quickly rolled it out to my car and put it on in there. Okay, quick and easy little page with your persona math or chipboard shapes and just acrylic paint, right? Oh, the cart is well worth it. It's pretty big too. Holds a lot. I've got gloss spray and paint in there. And I actually still have 2 drawers with nothing in it. So that's super cool. Of course, I can't leave it alone, right? So if you're not into the silhouette thing, then you could have masked hearts, flowers. The answer is yes, right? Or not, yeah. I mean, you can start with any shape that you want to paint on it. Different colorway here. Kind of flipped the colorway there. And it just looks really cool. Okay, so see this? I took paint and I did some squirrely like slides or swirly paint marks just straight from the paint bottle, and then I decided I didn't like them and that they were way too big and bold, and so I wiped them off and they removed the paint underneath them, and so that's why you can see it coming through, and I thought, okay, that is hecka cool. Isn't that cool? So hey, I should, and I always forget that. When I was a little girl, I would paint my nails, and we would, we never had nail polish remover, so to get our nail polish off, I've since told my mother this, I would paint my nails with a new color, let it sit for a minute or two, and then wipe it off on the carpet. Isn't that terrible? But it would take your nail polish off. So yeah, if you wet paint on dry paint, let it sit for a minute, wipe off the wet paint, it will take off some of what's underneath it. Do you write anything specific? I do write stuff that is specific. I did a whole video actually about my asemic writing, and I do address that there. So usually in a class, I write stuff like, I'm making art with my people, and I love art, and art is the best. That's the kind of stuff I write in class. If I were home in the studio by myself, I would likely be writing, whatever popped into my mind. I mean, I'm never at a loss for what to write. In that video that I did a week or so ago, I did give you ideas for what to write if you feel stuck about that. I talk about prompts and all that good stuff. All right. Let's come back here. I'll show you just a couple more pages, because you get the idea, right? It's not exactly like mind-blowing rocket science. I have all this paint over here, so I'm just going to put it on this page. Why? Because I can. Pink and green make brown. Oopsie. Oopsie. That's okay. Pink and green make brown. Oops. Oh well. Yeah, that would be a Facebook issue, Janice. The non-trusted certificate, that's not coming from me. That would be Facebook and your internet provider issue. la 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 la. Let's see here. I'm going to lay that tag back down. Okay, my wipes are completely dry. Thanks, Arizona. And I'm going to wipe some of that excess off. Rule of thirds. Yes, I see you guys kind of talking about that. The rule of thirds is a composition principle. It just means when you divide your work or your substrate into thirds, where the lines intersect is often a really nice place to put your, look at the print. It's a very nice place to put your focal point, and also if our brains like odd numbers. So when I was a docent at the art museum, what we used to teach kids and adults when they would come in is we would teach you guys that your brain has a favorite number, and that number is 3, and your brain's favorite shape is a triangle, which of course has 3 sides. So if you use things in odd numbers, especially 3, I will Marilyn at the end, especially 3, it gives a sense of stability and balance. I used to be a technical writer before kids, BK, and one of the things that has been learned about in instructional design fields and stuff is that if I put 3 things in a list that I want you to remember, chances are you'll remember it better than if you had to remember a list of 4 things or 2 things. It's that magic number 3. Our brains really like that magic number 3. And so I just find it fascinating. Kind of like how our brains crave opposites. We want to see opposites happen. So we're just going to do a funky abstract face. With that cool black gesso coming through. Is this why I have 3 kids? I have 3 kids because I got it started and I couldn't get it stopped. I had 3 kids in 4 years. When I first got married, I wanted 5 children because I am the oldest of 5. And I thought that's how I grew up. I think 5 children would be awesome. And then fertility issues came into play, and that was not possible. So I'm very blessed that I ended up with 3 kids, considering all the health problems I had. My body worked right for a very short time, and then it pooped out again. So never forget to turning 35 and thinking, oh man, I wonder if I'm supposed to have another baby. You know, I don't want to go through all this fertility mess again. And by then I'd had surgery and lost an ovary and all, blah, 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 blah. And I remember praying about it, and the answer that came to me was, "No, you're good." And I was like, "Woohoo!" Because I just didn't think I could go through it all again. And I'm just so blessed to have 3, you guys. It's just, and people will often say, "Oh, do you just long for a girl?" No, everything I went through made me so grateful that I ended up with what I got. So I'm blessed. There's no yearning or longing for what I don't have, only joy and gratitude for what I do have. Another reason why I never really wished away stages, because I waited so long for those little nuggets of little hellions. I could write a story on all the crazy things my kids would do too, you guys. Oh my gosh. I'll tell stories sometimes in class and people are like, "You're making that up." And I'm like, dudes, I'm not making this up. They were insane in the memory. they were, oh my gosh, so many stories. So many things they used to do. Cole especially, he would be drawing on the walls, and while I was watching him, he would be like, and he would look at me and he'd say, "Only on paper, Mommy." And I'd be like, oh my gosh. So, I mean, and then I would be like, where did he find the pen? I mean, I started hiding pens and things like that. It wasn't like I was leaving them around. And then I'll never forget, he finally kind of grew out of drawing on walls. So I painted over all the little kid drawings and thought, okay, I think we're over this, right? And I walked into his bedroom, and on his ceiling, he had drawn all of these little these little numbers and controls and gauges. And I said, oh my gosh, what did you do? And he goes, well, I want to be able to lay in bed and pretend like I'm driving the X-Wing, Mama. So he drew himself X-Wing controls on his ceiling. That was delightful. Another time I was sitting in my studio and I could hear water trickling, and I thought, that's such a nice sound. That beautiful, beautiful sound of water trickling like a brook. And then I thought, hold on. Why does it sound in my house like water is trickling? So I go upstairs, and Cole is in the middle of his room, and he looks at me and he's holding a 64-ounce cup from On the Run, a gas station. And he looks at me with sheer joy, and he goes, Mom, I'm up to 10. And he was going to the bathroom, and he was filling that 64-ounce cup up, and then he was just coming back to his room and pouring it in the middle of his carpet. And oh my gosh, we about died. I mean, we had to pull the carpet back, and we had to borrow one of those big industrial fans to like dry the carpet out. I mean, he poured so much water down that it ended up trickling. Oh my gosh. I could go on and on. I could write a book. All the fun things those awesome weirdos did. I remember I used to tease my kids, and I'd be like, oh, you guys are such WKs, weird kids. And my son Cole is very literal. And he goes, Mom, are we really weird? And does WK really stand for weird kids? And I said, it also stands for wonderful. Didn't want to give him a complex there. So many fun stories. Spitwads. Oh, I could go, you guys. So many fun things. And then, you know, just like kids, they're starting to admit to things that I didn't know about. And when they get together as adults, they're like, oh, boys, remember when we did this? Ha ha ha. And I'm like, what? Ignorance is bliss when you're a parent. Okay, so there is a crazy face painted right over that black background. Look how dramatic and cool, right? So I started out with eyes, nose, and mouth. Then I just kind of filled in various colors for skin. I added shadowy areas and light areas. Do you remember shadow and light areas when we did the face video from before? And then I just defined features, made sure the eyes, nose, and the mouth were defined, and then I'm calling it done. Yeah, I decided to use a pencil to crisp it up. You don't have to. Could have left it. Or you could turn to a finer brush and do more details with a brush. I just do love my pencil. My kids are now 24, 22, and 20. Mustache, yeah, a little darker right there, right? Stabilo, all. Stabilo, Stabilo, is the brand. The type of pencil is all, ALL, because it writes on everything, right? Anything else? No, so Caroline, he never said why. He was just having fun, dumping water. He's funny. He's funny. So Christine, black acrylic will not work the same as black gesso. So acrylic is going to have a much more slippery surface. The acrylic will be shiny, and then the acrylic will not have tooth. Okay, so tooth is that little bit of grit that helps the next layer stick. Okay, so it's just not quite the same if you use black acrylic. It truly isn't. Can you talk about white space with black gesso? It's still the same. You know, I would leave some space unpainted. Remember, white space doesn't have to be literally white. White space is negative space around your focal image. So, you know, especially with black gesso, you're going to want to leave some of it unpainted so that you've got this value change that we've talked about. Jen, die friend Jen. Because, you know, if you're just gonna if you're just gonna paint over all of it, then you don't need to use black gesso. Just use regular gesso, right? Right. The other fun thing that I really like about black gesso is that it does make images stamped on black. It makes them pop. So, like, if I decide to put that there, it's really popping those colors of the addition, and it's popping the black that, you know, anything black that I've used here, it's making it really vibrant and cool. This that I did yesterday as well was just white gloss spray sprayed through the alphabet stencil on the black gesso, and of course, because it's a little bit of grit, it will stick just fine. And then, you know, that on there, it just really pops. Like, I super, super love that. In fact, let's just commit. Let's just staple it, baby. You could glue it, or, you know, you could be impatient and just staple it. So I love that. Love it, love it, love it. And it looks, you know, of course it looks cool on your other surfaces, your burlap. It's just plain fun. Yeah, there's a lot of opacity in these gloss sprays. So you're going to have some really nice opacity from them. Oop. Lesson number 1, don't spray a dark color over dark. I'm just giggling. Oh my gosh. There we go. That should show up. Oh, much better. Funny how a dark color doesn't work on dark. Very cool. So if you guys want to order Stabilos, I think they might be a tad cheaper on dickblick.com or Jerry's Artorama or something like that. You'll just have to check it out. That's soaking in because it's too wet. When it's not wet, it won't soak in quite so much. So if you go to dickblick.com and if you put in Stabilo All, it will come up with, they call it a marking pencil. So it will come up with marking pencils. You don't want the graphite one, okay? You want the black. So on dickblick.com, search for Stabilo All, and then click on marking pencils, and then buy the black ones, okay? That's what I use. And I buy dozens and dozens and dozens at a time. And dozens and dozens. Scrappy Sheet carries black, white, and brown. Yeah, there you go. Support a local store. And, oops. can't get that shaken up. Yeah, I use the white one sometimes. The white, they're all fun to have. Most of the time, though, the graphite, it looks like pencil lead. It's not black. So if you want it to look like a gray pencil lead, then choose the graphite. But if you want it to look black, then you need the black, not the graphite. Okay? There is a difference there. Runaway has Stabilos in all colors. And my black gesso. So, I'm going to, so you can get them from Art from the Heart once they're allowed to start shipping. Okay. So Art from the Heart does ship to Europe all the time, but right now they are restricted. But Marissa, you can easily get them from Art from the Heart. They definitely carry Stabilo alls. These are my sprays. Dina Wakely Media gloss sprays. Yeah, I do work fast, and I just, because I'm not attached to outcomes and because I'm not necessarily trying to do something too finished, I just see what happens and then, do something on there. If I speckle one thing, I speckle everything, and then I call it good. So I hope that gave you some ideas for black gesso. Don't be afraid of it. Start with it and see the drama and the contrast that it gives. What everything that you know how to do, you can do on black gesso. You can mask it, you can paint on it. Just try it. What's the worst that could happen? It's a background, right? And then you can... Oh, if you're close to Salem, Jen, you've got to go to Runaway. Christy, unless you're talking about Salem, Massachusetts. If you're talking about Salem, Oregon, Runaway is really close. Right? Runaway is in Salem. Any last questions? I'll just hang out for just a minute or two and see if anybody has any last questions for me. And you guys can pop over and watch. Well, if you live near Eugene, Jen, you can still order from Runaway because she's doing mail order. Yeah. You guys please stay safe. Stay healthy. Yeah, we can do washies. I just stick them on things. I don't know if I'll have a lot to do a whole demo with, but I can certainly do that. That's a good idea. Awesome, you guys. Stay healthy, stay safe, eat a cookie. I was thinking yesterday, you know what I should make? I should make sugar cookies. I have a recipe for sugar cookie bars. And then I thought to myself, do not make those. Because if I do that, I will literally eat the entire pan. Like homemade things like that. I can have chocolate in a drawer and I'm not tempted. I'm not tempted to eat chocolate. A little bit, a bite or two, that's fine. The white words on tissue, here's the thing, Kim. If you put white words, if you put the white stuff down, and then if you gel medium it, it's not going to disappear. Because my tissue, I would say, is, okay, give me one sec for the cart. My tissue, I would say, is semi-transparent, and it disappears best on light backgrounds. If I glue it here, it will just look opaque. Okay, so that definitely won't help. Okay, let me put the drawer back in the cart. I pulled the bottom drawer out. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, I love sugar cookies. Oh my gosh. So sugar cookies are one of my red light foods. Oh my gosh, my favorite food. Like if you told me tomorrow you have a brain aneurysm and it's going to go, I would eat sugar cookies today, all day long. Like that's how much I love sugar cookies. Okay, so here's the cart with typical Dina mess surrounding it. Okay, so this is the new Tim Holtz cart, and he designed it so that it would be, you can pull the drawer all the way out and put the drawer on your desk and then put the drawers back. So I finally started filling it up. Yeah, Yvette, I will send you the recipe. It's really, really good. The bad thing is they're easier than normal sugar cookies because you don't have to roll them out, right? So, oh my gosh. Oh, and the lemon cookies. And I have lemons too. Lemons off my tree. Okay, so the bottom drawer is huge. So I've got lots of spare paint in there. Apparently no white, however. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Is that white? Oh, Dina. Just goes to show that I don't pay attention. All right, I do have 3 white paint. Woohoo! All right, now you guys know. So bottom cart's really big, and then it's got 4 of this size. I really haven't filled these up yet, but then this one has gloss spray, and then this one has a little more gloss spray, including a little something. All of the prototypes for new colors. And then a little bit of paint overspill. So it's really handy. I really, really like it. And then my piles of crap everywhere, of course, haven't changed. Piles, piles, piles everywhere. That's just how I roll. Piles. Hi, Curdy. Yes, I will send you the lemon cookie recipe. Curdy, you are going to love them. Yeah, so that's a question for Tim. Yeah, that was tangerine spray. I know they were announced at the show, and I'm not 100% sure what the release date is on the cart, but I would imagine that it is, yeah, I don't know. I don't know when they're available, you guys. I really don't. I don't have any idea. I'm not sure what the ship date is on these. And then this is kind of a cool little thing I bought at Marshall's and TJ Maxx. And that's handy. And of course, this is the little one I keep on the desk. So this is a spice rack. See, look. Made Smart Spice Organizer. Look at that. Right now I have floss in there that needs to go in the other room. But they just sit right on the corner. And in general, that's where I'm supposed to be putting my sprays back. Okay, I'll send you guys the lemon cookie recipes and the sugar cookie bars. I promise they're super good. And dang it, now I'm going to have to make them. Maybe I'll make them and give some away because heaven forbid, right? All right, and you guys know not to judge me and my mess, right? My mess is what it is. That is what it is. So, hope you enjoyed those ideas for black gesso. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to play with some stamps. So I was stamping with gloss spray, messing around with stuff. So, I mean, you all know how to use an ink pad, right? Well, you all know how to stamp. But tomorrow we'll just play around with some stamps for kicks. Sound good? And then Friday is a Q&A request. So you know what? Friday is when we can talk about washi tape, because that might be a good little Q&A request thing. So think of your request for Friday as well. All right? Okay, cool beans, everybody. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.